provide insights about AI on a budget and how startups can build smart. So I'd like to introduce you all to the mentors who will be anchoring the session, Farhan Chawla and Fouad Bajwa. So Farhan will be leading first. Farhan is an AI entrepreneur, data enthusiast, and passionate explorer on a mission to make future generations AI ready. He's the founder of Sense Applied, where he's focused on demystifying Gen AI and analytics for the real world impact. He's a senior fellow at AI FOD, a proud member of the AI Frontier Network, and a mentor in Ignite. He blends practical innovation with purpose, whether it's building no-code voice tools for pharmaceutical field forces or launching creative AI academies for kids. He's leading the way in making AI accessible, actionable, and meaningful. Fouad, on the other hand, the second who will be taking the second half of this session. He's been helping build ventures in AI since 2015 and holds a patent in AI and biomedical engineering. He has built and invested in an enterprise AI platform to bring organizations of any scale and size to AI. His startup Digital Dara has been working with AI and smallholding farmers in rural remote parts of Pakistan, and he's been heavily involved in AI and mentors AI startups and ventures with Ignite. So throughout the session, please feel free to include your questions in the chat, as well as react with emojis throughout the session. So Farhan, you'll be taking it from here. So floor is yours.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to my talk on AI on the budget. When Ignite approached me for this, it was a difficult thing to think about. I mean, AI on a budget, how startups can build smart, how startups can run on a small budget. It was a bit challenging to think about, but I did the research, found some examples, I'll be talking about them. Feel free to ask any question in between. Just raise your hand, or you can just start your talks, not a problem. So I'll start with the graphic first. Aren't these what startup founders look like? We are stuck in a box, stuck with the Power BIs, our chat GPTs, cash strapped, the graphs and the things. Most of the times we think we are like the boss baby. We have surrounded by all the charts, we are surrounded by all these graphs and everything, and a huge puzzle to take care of, which some of the pieces are missing. That's what these four friends were around in 2022 when they started. These four friends started a startup in MIT. Michael Truel, Swale Asif, Arvind Lundmark, and Aman Sanger. They met while studying over there, but had a common obsession, a common goal to start an AI company and transformation of software development. And they began experimenting with AI tools and put up a small startup. I'm not going to name the name. I'm going to show it to you guys later. So this for those who think that for a startup to start, you need a very big, huge people working for you. You need a CFO, you need a marketer guy, you need all those. But these four prove that with four people, you can set up a startup and can build it and then scale it up later. So in 2023, they created a AI native code editor by forking Visual Studio Code. And they launched to early users, and one of the early users was OpenAI, which invested about $8 million in the seed round. In 2023, they brought in Midjourney, Shopify, and although the team remained to four people, it started becoming a huge and become very popular among the developers. In 2024, they raised about $60 million in the Series A round, and spent it then from 2020 to 24, next 2 years, expanded from 4 to 40. So it's not you have to start small. You can start small and grow big later once you expand, once you have the capability to do so. And that same year, this went up to $100 million in annual revenue. And this faster than anyone else in the SAS company. In 2025, they became the leader. The valuation soared to $2.5 billion. A 40 people startup, which started with only four people. And later to 9.6 billion after they had a $625 million Series C. They continue to innovate, release new features, expand these features, and some of us are using it. So if any one of you know what's about, give me a moment. I think I shut down the presentation. Sorry about that. So in 2025, they became a $10 billion company. And this cursor, the AI code editor. I can't see the screen right now. Don't know how many of you are using it, but I'm using it on and off for some of the work. Also using Replit and other tools to do my work. How they did it? For a startup, they started small, didn't went all the way big. I mean, one of the mistakes which done in Pakistan, the teams are a bit cheap over here, got more of the people coming in, more of the startups, and more of the people to join the startup, and the cost shooted up. So you need to have a small, highly technical team obsessed with user needs. The main key thing is user needs. You have to know your customer, what they want. Think of Steve Jobs. They started with an iPhone. He didn't. He anticipated what the user wants, what the user needs are, but they don't know. They started with that. Same with these four guys. They anticipated what the user wants. They want a no-code startup where people like me who have no idea about how to, I tried to learn Python, never learned it easily. So people like me who have no idea how to code can easily develop their tools and go forward with it. An AI native approach. Now, this is the name of the game right now. You have to go AI first. You have to take it. It has to be based on AI because things making very easier. But still, it's not just an add-on. Didn't put a something and put a wrapper on top of it. They built the AI first approach and product-led growth. They made the thing easy. They made it popular among people. They made it popular among the community, the developers and all. And then they took it further. There was no marketing spend, only viral. It went viral among developers, which adopted it, talked about it, and others people start joining in. Their approach: small teams can build industry shipping companies. Our chemistry we started with only 4 people, became to 40, it became a it became a $10 billion company in just 4 years. They have deep technical force and user obsession. Still today, they are modifying the code. They are making it better and better as per the user needs. And it's a blueprint, which we can see is for modern startups. How we can do that? If you haven't, I'll recommend this book by Saul Rashidi. She has worked in Google, she has worked in Microsoft, she has worked in Apple and PayPal everywhere. And she wrote a book about your AI survival guide, blunt acknowledgments, bruised elbows, and real-world AI deployment. This book really tells you what how you can deploy AI in your business and how you can take it further. The first thing she said is ask why. Why you wanted to set up this startup? What's its purpose? Who is going to serve? And what's your passion about it? If you know why, who, and what, you can start anything. It will make a whole pathway for you. It will show you the way where you want to go and how to go over there. And also help you develop your strategy. You want to take it coding, you want to take it in a marketing, you want to put a wrapper around it, however you want to go for it. You need to develop the strategy according to the why. You have to think big. One of the things which I learned is that I was talking to some of the people yesterday, and they told me, Farhan, certain people, when they think, I'm starting small. For me, I'm just starting a small electronic company, but I'm going to be the next Apple. So they're thinking big. They're starting small. But once they start achieving, they scale quickly. The 40 people, 4 people startup within 2 years became a 40 people startup. They started very small. As soon as they knew that they need more people, they went up to 40 and then started scaling up. And choose your right technology partner. From day one, Cursor started working with OpenAI. So it gave them the traction, it gave them the noise, it gave them the right partner to take them further. And pace yourself. Don't burn out. Yes, as a startup, there are no hours for us. It's not 9 to 5 job. We start early in the morning and there's no night for us. But we got to pace ourselves and see how we are going further, what our goals are to achieve that. And for coming up for with a smaller team or 2 people, 3 or 4 people, there are AI tools for you guys now. There are things which can help you do it. Even if you have a 2-person human team, you got, for me, these are my team, which is working for me. I got ChatGPT, which I call Chatty. All my chats are now verbal with it. I start the voice conversation, I start talking to it, and we just go throw ideas around and discuss how it's going. It's my 24/7 idea generator. It's my researcher. It's my content creator. Half of this presentation is made by talking to ChatGPT. All into one, from drafting my emails, from my pictures to everything. Is ChatGPT is also there. It's not only ChatGPT. I'm also using Perplexity. I'm also using Cloud. I'm also using Google Gemini. Every tool serves its purpose, and I'm using all of them to do my work. Canva is something which I'm using for the past 6 to 7 years. Even this presentation running on Canva right now. This is my go-to tool for my graphic designing, for my works, for my social media, for my LinkedIn, for everywhere. For my pitch deck and logos, everything, Canva helps me a lot. And trust me, these tools are free. You don't have to spend $100, or even only spend $1 million on top of that. Canva you can get for free. ChatGPT you can get it for free or like $20 only. Replit, I pay about $20 for it. This is my white coding buddy. Whenever I want to make something, I usually don't even go around. I just ask Replit to make it for me. I use my Cloud 3.7 Sonnet to make the application for me and start using on my laptop and all. So, and then end of the day, I use Miro. Miro is, I work with my team to put in all the ideas. We discuss about it, we brainstorm on it. It's like a good collaboration tool. So I don't have to worry about losing the train of thoughts and everything. Everyone always on the same page. Some of you may think I don't use Slack. I'm more of a Miro guy, so it's much more fun over there. It's much more easier for us over there. So I'm going to finish it and I wish you all the best in your endeavors. I wish you all, I'm always there for you. You have, that's why I shared my LinkedIn contact too. So anything you guys want to ask, anything you guys want to do, I'm there for you. And feel free to contact me anytime, wherever you want. Thank you. If there are any questions, I'm here to answer that. Kenan?
Yes, I think we'll leave the chat open for about 2 minutes. If
Okay.
anyone has any questions at this stage of the mental hour, and then we'll proceed to continue with Fouad.
Thank you, Kenan. Wonderful insights, Farhan. My journey with AI has been an interesting one. People with similar backgrounds in technology, computer engineering, and so forth, have a certain level of orientation with AI. It's been there like since 1960s in various forms. But we started seeing lots of developments post 2008. And that started happening with solutions that were coming in. And we saw large scale implementations around the year 2012. There's a very significant example, which is from in Scandinavia, where they replaced their complete customer service with something called Blue Prism. And when I had read about the Blue Prism case study, I was really astonished. And I was frequently visiting Denmark at that time, where all of this was happening. When you walk into the head office of Nordea Bank, the same floor where you had hundreds of customer service representatives taking calls and advising customers, that whole place had been turned into a co-working space. And all those people that were laid off were taken back. They were upskilled and they were adjusted into other jobs. So in some countries, which are very easy to identify, which are like on top of the World Innovation Index, had been seeing significant, um, changes of early AI for the mainstream businesses and organizations. And somehow during my run into with the AI, I ended up in a company, helping someone start a company, which was working in customer engagement and helping monitor the customer journey in the retail sector. And when we joined, there was just one prototype being developed in response to a pain point by a retailer. And when I transitioned from that company into another one, uh, on our network across the country. And the interesting part is, even in 2017, our rate of deploying our AI and taking it forward with so many customers within the fashion and retail industry was very quick. And even at that time, I used to get astonished at the kind of solution that I was sewing together could have not been possible 10 years ago from 2017. So this is really amazing that without the need for very large teams in data analytics and so forth, I was able to bring the product to the market within a relatively short span of time, within less than a year. And the adoption was, massive. The company is still profitable. And then coming years, when I moved into helping develop a biomedical engineering startup, and the first few patents that we filed with the USPTO, new designs of using, deep learning is a subset of machine learning. And in that, you sort of develop deep neural networks and you work with different, and you develop systems which penetrate all the way down to, hardware, which is helping you survive, speaking with you, helping, with the prognosis part and treatment part. And it was so amazing. I was really excited at that time. But at the same time, I was also realizing one thing: I didn't need so many technical people anymore. And today, when we look at our machines and when we look at the technologies we've developed, all the patents we've generated, it really this promise that evolved that AI is going to help us to a great degree, very real. And today, when I see how we've been developing our recent startup, there's so much amazing development pace that one tends to think, are we going to end up in an agentic AI world where, there are going to be lesser people on board or what? I'd like every one of you to remember is that AI isn't just a software or a certain kind of hardware or so forth. It's actually a solution architecture. And the kind of solution you stitch according to your need heavily cases that you're trying to address. So, okay, yes, you can build AI, solutions in isolation as an individual without a team. But at the same time, when you look at the business case that you're trying to address, it's always again that is different for every industry. Today we see utilization of AI across very redundant areas within the social media, digital marketing sectors, within documentation sectors, within sectoring to shift and record all the documents from the previous decades and to be able to analyze them. So we had this very small transition from where we wanted to sort of find or build systems that could help you look backwards in your data, driving a car and only looking through your, your rear view mirror, and you were looking at the past. But now we are in a time where you can use this data, you can use present day data, and sort of, models to predict the future or analyze the possibility of certain events that are going to happen in the future. So at this moment in time, you have a plethora of technologies and solutions out there, which if you have a plan, a proper strategic plan, you can automate a lot of processes for your organization. But at the same time, you want someone to sit and monitor those. So you would have people in your team that would be looking at how the AI, the solutions you're stitching together would be working. Let me give you security is a very hot field right now. And there's a lot of AI work going on in, identifying and predicting cyber attacks and, resolving and patching servers and data centers and all that. We ended up developing against a use case an automated premises if you had the connectivity. And it would look at systems, study their logs, and see potential possibilities of where potential cyber attacks could happen, existing security breaches, code or architectures that could have a potential threat, and it would generate reports on them. So we took it into the next step, and we created an automated system which would take that report and patch up the systems, and it could do it across the world at any number of data centers. But in between, the human layer was concerned that we cannot leave this to the systems. The system could predict a stable system to be a potential future threat and make it possibly unstable. So there were like these many numerous concerns around automating AI being used on cybersecurity. So there's skepticism, and there's always going to be skepticism. But in today's world, you can start off a startup, you can build a product with much lower costs than you would have done 5-6 years ago. The first thing is your ability for no-code engines, like Farhan was sharing, and the possibility that you have so many open source and proprietary LLMs, large language models. And every large language model, covers a certain number of use cases, the kind of data it has been trained on, as well as within open source. Like, for example, I use a very strong tool which is called Mistral AI. And recent times you've heard about, DeepSeek, and then, perpetuality, and then, it's perplexity, I think. So gives you better searches and information than Google. So you're going to see a lot of those rapid changes. You see agentic AI coming in. We have the capability in our systems to build multiple departments without, human intervention, and they would need. But the physical part will remain until robotics and transport systems are not upgraded to the level that they work ubiquitously and autonomously. And that time is not far either, right? You've seen it. You've seen robotic arms and small transport robots within factories. So gradually, that pace is pretty high. But at the same time, there are a lot of functions that humans need to perform. So I sort of balance on both sides. I believe in the fact that a lot of taken over by AI, but those people will not really be out of jobs. They'll be moving into improved roles with upskilling and so forth. And at the same time, the cycle for new technology development has been reduced so much that, let's say, if you were thinking today, I don't have this capability in my company, AI application being used across the board. People are doing so much with Chat GPT and all these other large language models. You've got your Meta integrated into your WhatsApp, into your Facebook, into your Insta. So we are gradually going into a ubiquity era of AI just being there on our phones and everything we use. So AI is going to gradually sort of go behind the curtain, and life would be very much different for all of us. And what we're witnessing is this, changeover of everything into being AI enabled, not true AI, but AI enabled something. And that's where startups are capitalizing on as well. But at the same time, they are looking at three things when they're talking with startups who are working in AI. Number one, they're looking at the business case, the business model, the cash cow. They're looking at how much revenues your companies are generating. If you're going for a certain kind of valuation, 20% of that valuation. So that sort of to guarantee or differentiate between all these AI apps and an actual AI innovation. And at the same time, you have this environment we're almost developing similar apps because they're all using in their base LLM systems the same LLMs that are available to everyone. So really, the era of customized LLMs has begun, and companies are coming up with proprietary LLMs which focus on the kind of data they generate and the kind of predictions they want to make, and that gives you a strong perception of how AI wars are going to be between companies in the coming future. So it's all about, you saw what happened with Chat GPT-4 and OpenAI and DeepSeek. So there's a resistance to innovations geographically, but that puts those companies in a better position that the regions that they are in, they create more influence, more usage, and more use cases, and strengthen their systems. And those systems are used to create future AI systems. So nowadays, it's really exciting. It's really fun in terms of, the opportunity that anybody can cash. Hardware designs in one part of the world, have them fabricated in another part of the world, and you can sell them in any part of the world. So that is really amazing. And the amount of redundant tasks that used to be there, like Farhan was sharing earlier as well, you have, platforms which have converted to AI, and now they work in tandem and in sync, and they can, fulfill a great deal of tasks and stuff. So my skepticism when it comes to a lot of, AI things is, is like a frequency on one side. I see things where I'll invest, money or sweat equity, and on the other side are things I will actually build and have investments done in them. So I tend to, think the topic of this discussion is that yes, AI systems aren't easy to build, like the base systems on top of which all of these applications are running. They require a lot of hardware and power costs, which are detrimental to the sustainability of our society. But at the same time, it lets me use lesser resources to gain greater results. And if I can do that in shorter periods of time, I believe that a lot of many other startups across the world are able to do that. So we are in a greenfield moment as to which direction everything is going to, but it also has enabled us to be more pragmatic and be able to move beyond just ideas to actual executions, because we could test things with free AI before actually developing, systems and business models, and thereof cash cows and sustaining our businesses. So we're in a greenfield moment, and it's a grand opportunity for everyone to make use of it. But at the same time, it has a keen interest of experts, investors, and other people who want to exploit the future opportunity that is being created today. So I'll stop it at there and take questions with Farhan. So I hope you got a gist of what I'm dealing with in terms of AI and what I see in terms of its future. Over to you, Kinan.
Right. So as Fouad said, we'll be taking some time to answer questions, or they'll be available to take questions. If you are putting questions in the chat, please make sure that you are also putting the name of who you would like to answer said questions as well.
Okay, I've been asked a question. Is the new $200 ChatGPT Pro worth it? If you're using it, it's worth it. But still, I mean, for programming, you can also try other tools like Cloud Pro. You can also use Gemini. So try those first, instead of just putting $200 in an application. And I believe if you're starting with it, go for more GitHub and all, and it will help you there.
I think that, the decision to take or the amount of tokens you want to spend within computing power is really dependent upon how you're building your solution architecture. If it's heavily dependent on proprietary platforms like you asked for Chat GPT Pro, then the cost doesn't just stop at $200. So for every query structure that you're developing and the amount of queries and tokens being expended, so you're going to incur a cost. For example, for our system, we've done 1,000 pages of programming in Python connecting various parts of the solution because of the different use cases we were addressing. So every time we switch on the system, first we need very good hardware to run the platform. Number two, we have a couple of things. The open source things are offline, so we don't incur a cost on their queries. But when we use Chat GPT or any other online like Gemini or these other LLMs, then a huge cost is a huge cost occurs. So it's really based on what kind of solution you're designing, which tier of artificial intelligence applications are you entering? Are you using, entering the user applications, and ChatGPT is the best choice. But if you were building systems which are going to work in banks, which are going to work with government, which are going to do, replace legacy platforms, then, the costs are very high. And that is why the hardware, across the world, especially NVIDIA hardware is so expensive. But again, at the same time, we've already got Moore's law in action. So even NVIDIA processes are, coming down when it comes to hardware for that. So for as far as software is concerned, if you're into user application development for, using AI ML models and, partially deep learning models, which already exist, and you're just, using their APIs and you're feeding them data and pulling out data, then you should stick on the lower cost side, as Farhan has said. Thank you.
For the next question, I mean, AI is believed there, everyone believes that AI is going to replace the programmers, but there is someone to program AI. So unless it goes fully autonomous, you need programmers, you need people who understand it. So you need senior developers. It's not going to replace you. It's for people like me who don't know programming that love to say that it's going to replace programmers, but not the senior programmers. So keep on learning Python, keep on learning the languages, and go for it.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot replace the human common sense with AI, and experienced common sense, decision-making capability based on various factors, which also includes human emotions, right? And perception of tasted knowledge in context with explicit knowledge, that still needs to be achieved. We've got a whole learning from a with technology development, and that somehow cannot just be randomly replaced. What is actually happening is that there were various projects of various degrees of AI research happening since no was some applications mainstream, the others had no future, so those teams were rolled back. So you would have AI skills, like I said in the very beginning. If you're a computer engineer or a software engineer, you already studied AI. So almost everyone in the computer technology field has some with their early days in university. So when they're working in the current environment is also continuously learning about what you can do with AI. Some projects are going to progress, some are going to be rolled back. So the news is always, doesn't cover the good part. It usually covers the bad part, but the good part, people extent to which, we require AI skills, and they're very human skills, and, jobs aren't finishing for them. Thank you.
For
That's a nice
Akshin, I'll
question.
say, yeah. Paul, but don't take it because programming is your forte, not mine.
Yeah. So, when we used to be studying in college, we used to have this whole huge class of people, and at the end of the day, only 2, 3 people as programmers, right? That's the irony and a fact of the field. So a lot of people would go in web design, web engineering, this engineering, that engineering, networking, and so forth. So IT is or ICT is usually that it's made of two things. One is ICI, which is information communication infrastructure, and the other is the information technology and communication telecoms infrastructure. So they're like three fields in this one word. And when you're studying, manpower is creating for all of these fields. So there's always application for people with technical knowledge. If you're on the programming side, you have a different stream. If you're a person who has knowledge of the field and can understand how these things work, you can put together a company, you can put together a startup, you can put together, solutions, and you can, still have the same incomes and, the lifestyle and everything that a regular technology, a programmer has. So you would actually have more time to, create a successful startup, buy your yacht, and, enjoy yourself, because you're not like us who've had backgrounds in programming. We, until AI showed up, we were, working with big companies or big organizations, but we're still coding our stuff. So that's the only difference, right? Literally, it doesn't really make much of a difference, in my opinion, with what is happening, code engine world is doing. So that would actually work in your favor.
Okay, as a startup and a business, what's learning curve? Well, there's no learning curve. We are still in infancy of AI tools, I should say. We have still started. We had 2 years. There's no learning curve. We are still like at the bottom. We're just looking at the things and how things are coming up and working on it. So as the tools are coming in, adapt them. Every day there's something new coming in the market. And the only thing is you got to learn, you got to adapt yourself accordingly and go for it. So as a start with a business decision maker, use all the tools you can get your hands on. Trust me, if I look at my tabs, I got like 8 of them open right now. And all of them are running different AI tools, which I'm using in my business. So beside the Sense Pride thing, I also run a pharmaceutical company. So I have data analytics, I have sales, I have marketing, content generation, everything is running on different LLMs. So that's how it is, and working with my teams on that.
Yeah. If we would have been having this discussion 3 years, what can I do? What can I do to develop my business and, improve my learning curve and so forth? Nowadays, like, the internet has transformed. Everything is about AI. So whether you're learning something, whether you want to get certifications, whether you want to sort of, a prototype for your future AI application, so forth, everything is possible now, much faster, much quicker, even without a certain degree of coding. You'll need some knowledge about how to stitch systems together. And, the market has an overflow nowadays. Balance. So you're actually in a, like, they say that you're in the right space at the right time at the moment. So it's only a matter of, letting go of your fears and trying to dive into it. Because at the end of the day, we say that for any business to start up, it's all about, jumping off the cliff and constructing your parachute as you're going down towards the ground. So that's how you're going to sort of, overcome the fear, as well as you'll be somewhere within. Look, AI improvements are coming, and every week we hear something new, right? So we are in that transformation era right now, where we're not going to get settled on one model, one design, one application, or so forth. So large companies would be running slower. Startups and businesses would be pretty much rapid in terms of identifying, the direction you might want to take or follow the investment trends. And, for you, in between all of that, you have more space to maneuver than you would have had in the past. Farhan, you want to take the second question?
I've talked about this one. Didn't saw anything else after that. Startup is, yeah, it's taken care of. Yeah. The faster it gets. But the plateau is we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg. The plateau is way too far. I mean, with the speed things are coming in, we have no idea what's coming in next. And Sam Altman just puts in a new video every other week. So it's not, plateau is very far. We are just starting, we have just right now at the base. For the generative AI, which we as a consumer are using, I don't know about what's happening in the programming part, but in the start, we are just starting up. And there's a long way to go. And there's a huge leap is going to be made.
Yeah, and like you say, the plateau, we haven't stopped having AI hallucinations, throw in information which is vague. If you ask for citations, they only point to citations from online sites. The vast troves of human information haven't been fully tapped yet. So the world has still to shift to AI, make the data available as AI searchable data lakes, and then you need huge amounts of computing power to stream that information so that we can access it or machines can use that. So we're really at the tail of the curve right now, and we haven't even started our upward journey where transformation would take human mankind into all new directions. That hasn't happened yet. So it's really the beginning and exciting actually. And I would easily see the next 1.5 decades as the most exciting times in human technological history. So any more questions? Or should we bring in Kenan?
I think if there's going to be no more questions in the next minute or so, I think we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah.
So we'll give it 1 minute.
Yeah, one thing I'll like, just some information I'll add that at the time we wrote our patent, a patent is written the moment an idea is conceived. And the moment it is conceived, you sort of write it down on a tissue paper or a piece of paper, or maybe quickly get something on your word processor, and you submit that to the United States Patent Office. And for a year, you have a provisional patent or a patent pending, and then you go for the full patent. So the interesting thing is that the full patent that we wrote down exists as a product in the market today, right? So by the time the full patent came out, the medical product is in the market. It's got a considerable amount of has considerably captured the market. And when I look back at what we wrote and what we've achieved in terms of the startup achieving the goal that was sort of presented in the patent, we see that we've added so much more because that's how fast-paced the AI development. So there's so much more coming in. You're thinking one thing right now, but by the time you've actually ended up developing the product, there's so much is there to make it much more easier to implement even your idea. So I don't have the right word for it in contributing to developing the AI space across the world.
Okay, for Meadows, your marketing strategy for startup, is that working? If you have a good network, you have the best network, you can go for, as I told you about the cursor, they started developers, they built up their whole network based on that, and then they start going up. So knowing the right people, the right networking, meeting the right people will take you really forward. So LinkedIn is one of the best platform which I'm using to connect with people of like-minded people. Ramesh, different AI apps serve a different purpose. I mean, I know some are good for content generation, some are good for image generation. So I mix and match all of them. Sometimes I get ChatGPT to develop one content, I pick it up and give it to Perplexity to develop the other. So it's still like a pick and choose and play around with it, see which one serves your purpose better.
Um,
Yeah.
as far as marketing is concerned, always remember that when you're talking about a startup, the startup goes about addressing a pain point. And if that pain point is beyond you, and it's not a passion, it's not something you're experiencing personally, but a customer or a potential somebody is witnessing that, and you've connected with them. For example, during designing our product, we actually brought in patients very early on who helped us design the machine, right? And we looked at their current scenario in which they were currently getting their treatments. We looked at the hospitals, the clinics, and all the centers across a certain city, and we uh, and they helped us, conceive the machine design. So they were already our buyers. So when the machines trials started, they were the first ones to go on trials. When the machines started getting sold, they were the first ones to get the machines. So if you have a customer on board from day one, who even if they haven't bought it, but they're willing to buy, so they're the ones who are your biggest advocates in marketing, and they're the ones who are going to be acting as your, helping you with the word of mouth, becoming the first users of your product. So it's a tried and tested old age strategy, which helps startups, grow fast. Startups who are unable to do it, there was an old saying that maybe they're ahead of their time, but nowadays that's not the case. What's wrong? What is wrong with startups who aren't able to build a marketing strategy and execute it? Number one, they're either afraid of bringing on board, one of two, they don't have the funds yet, and they have the unwillingness to use their equity to pay them off, right? Number three, they just haven't found the right person. So it's a long exercise. For example, I was developing a financial product. I was interviewing people from banks, presidents who had retired and so forth, chairmen and very large financial players. They didn't understand a particular field I was working in, so I couldn't work with them. I couldn't bring them on. So I really didn't have that profile level people who needed to understand fintech and all that kind of stuff. But this was years ago. Today, fintech is a very common thing in my country, right? So nowadays, you find a lot of people, but marketing is something which has always been there. So it's only a matter of getting the right people on board in the very beginning, who interact closely with the customer, who know it in and out. And for any startup founder, I always tell them, your primary purpose in life is to promote your startup, raise funds, and move your startup from each burnout phase to the next phase before it burns out again. So get the right people on board from the very beginning.
So I think with that, we'll wrap it up there. I want to thank you both for the very insightful session you guys have anchored today, and also for the value you've provided to the community and continue providing to the community. So if anyone wishes to book a session with them after this, feel free to check their availability on Ignite in the upcoming month as well as next month as well. We do have some events coming up soon as well, such as the Buy AI Festival next week and Pitch at the Hive Health Tech Edition later this month. So if you're in Dubai and you haven't registered already, do so now, and we'd look forward to seeing you all there. But lastly, before we do bring this session to a close, we'd appreciate your feedback, and we'll be dropping a form in the chat. We'll only take a couple minutes of your time at most. So with that, thank you all for attending, and hope everyone has a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Hanan. Thank you, Franza. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for us.
Have a
Thank you
good
both
night.
very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.